Hey everyone, welcome back to Kenley's Car Stories. I'm Kenley and this is the 1971 Pontiac GTO restoration project. All right, well, we're here. We finally made it. It is time to get to the fuel injection and the electrical system. Everyone's favorite part of a restoration project happens to actually be my favorite part of any project, the electrical system. And hopefully in this video, we're gonna hear this car run and maybe even scoot around, out there in the neighborhood. Okay, but before we do that, I need to get you guys caught up on what I've been working on behind the scenes. So let's do that real quick and then we'll come back to what we're going to accomplish in this video. So last night, I'm editing the footage because we just left off with, let me show you what I've done. When I realized I lost the footage, I don't have it. So to make things make sense, this of course is after, so you can see some things have changed. I'm going to reshoot this part for you guys because I think it's important for you to know, just catch you up on some of the things that were done off camera. And then we're going to get to the wiring and the layout stuff. So let's do that real quick, do the catch up, and then we'll get to the layout. So last time we left off, it was the condenser. Since then, I've put the some of the front brackets on, hood release, hood support, some of those just parts that go on the radiator core. Not a big deal there. And I got the belts. Took me like 5 runs to O'Reilly to get the belt that I need for this compressor. Got the shroud cleaned up. Simple, that was easy. It was just a quick wash and clean. The radiator was rebuilt. I sent that down to Performance Radiator in Phoenix. They said it was in really good shape, so they just record it and it's good to go. But we've kept a lot of the original parts. Obviously the fender liners, we saw all that get done. On the inside of the car, I fixed the shifter. It now does shifty things. Before it was in really bad shape, so it wouldn't hardly do anything. But now we got first, second, third, neutral, reverse, and drive. And I replaced all of the switches on the column. The column is going to come out probably after paint. And it needs refurbished. I also redid the park neutral safety switch because that was just hanging, just pinned into the neutral position. So this works now. It used to stick into the crank position. All that's good. Shifter's good. The steering wheel wouldn't lock before. Now everything locks, works the way it should. Shifter won't come out of park on accident. So all that's been fixed. Oh yeah, and the parking brake. Almost forgot about that. The parking brake was seized, so I pulled it off, soaked it, cleaned it, and got it functioning well. Everything's working well now. I do need a new knob, but we can do that later. I also worked on the fuse box. It was really corroded. I went through it, cleaned it. I'm going to convert it, as you can see, to blade style fuses. It'll be a nice little upgrade since we're not redoing the whole wiring on this vehicle. And we'll cover more on that later. So put the drive shaft in, got that all dialed in. You can see, got the cross member refinished. I did that, of course. The transmission, I sent that to state transmission on Bell. One of the things that we covered in the last video that needs a conclusion is this starter. I called Jegs. They sent me a shim, which now puts the pinion depth correct. Let's see if we can get a good angle on it. There we go. So we got the clearance we need between the pinion and the ring gear, and all we needed was that shim. And we've got one shim up there to kind of bring it down and get the depth correctly. You remember in, I think it was video 2 or 3, we had, this little shift linkage had a nail. Obviously I got the correct cotter pins in there. And this car came with a new old stock shift rail, so I put that in, got it all adjusted and cleaned up. And I think, other than that, the guys over at Inline Tube, none of these people are sponsors, by the way. I just want you guys to know where I buy my parts or get things serviced, because when they do a great job, you should know who they are. I've been purchasing stuff from them on eBay because they ship much quicker from there, I think. But they sent me a whole kit for the parking brake. So I put a whole new, well, the car came with a new old stock or used cable here because the other one was broken. And then all of the attaching hardware is new. The little Mickey Mouse ear clips back here were broken and missing. Same thing both sides, so all that's up to snuff now. Everything should be done. And new shocks, put some KYBs in, had to buy some new mounts. These were completely broken, not surprising. And I think that's it. We should be pretty caught up to this point. Okay, well, we're gonna get started by getting the fuel tank out first. I'm actually kind of excited about this part because I'm hoping the build sheet still be sitting on top there. But first I'm gonna get this gas out. I already got it rigged up. I got this kit from Amazon. It's got a little clicky clack pump in it. It's pretty convenient though. It's a nice little carrying case. Okay, seems to be empty enough. I'm gonna make it easy on myself and just get under here and cut these hoses because they're all getting replaced anyway. All right, just quickly cut these hoses because they're all gonna get replaced anyway. And I'm just wrestling this vent line off. There we go. Ow, hit my knuckle. Perfect. Somebody's been up here before. It's kind of not wired correctly. That's okay. All that's getting redone anyway. Ow, just hit my head. All right, get something here to support it. Well, that wasn't too bad. I'll get these straps out. I'll get them cleaned up and painted. And unfortunately, the build sheet was there, but it's not there anymore. A little disappointing, but not surprising either. I mean, somebody obviously did that sender once and then just took everything off and threw it away. All right, fellas, now that I got the fuel tank out, it is time to move on here. There's a lot to accomplish here. So I'm gonna just start in the middle and work my way out. Before I put the distributor in, I'm gonna put oil in, prime the oil system, then put the distributor in, put the Holley fuel injection in, and send Henry a text because he's been dying to see that on the car. Then I have to get to the layout, and that means just the tedious part. I've got to lay out the different modules, figure out where I'm gonna mount them. I'm looking for, obviously, the best serviceability and aesthetic, trying to meet both those. All right, let's get going. Let's just get this oil in here. And listen, don't freak out. This is temporary. I did add zinc to this, by the way. While it's at the body shop, you know it's not gonna really ever get a full heat cycle. And the oil's just gonna get saturated with fuel probably, so. Anyway, this will be temporary. When it comes back, it'll get a new filter and some Valvoline VR1. Make sure my drain plug's tight. Yep. We're gonna trust that it is. All right. All right, to prime it, this is a 5.7 liter distributor shaft, but it works really, really well in here. So I just need to make sure I'm going counterclockwise. There it is. Probably should have done this while it was out of the car. All right. Well, it worked before, for Pete's sake. It's the angle. Now let's see. So that little slot down there is where you're aiming for. there's a lot of oil up here. If you look in there, you can see oil around the shaft for the oil pump. And you can hear kind of a clicking as the lifters bleed out the air. Henry is here. So first we need to find out top dead center. So he's gonna hold that on there. I'm gonna rotate the engine around and let me know when your thumb shoots off that little pipe there. Okay. And if it sucks down, then I need to go all the way around, which will be fun. So here we go.
My thumb will get sucked into the engine, will it?
No. Is it pushing out?
Not really. I heard it hiss out.
That's good. If it's hissing, then we're close to TDC. So is it pulling or pushing?
I see more like a pull.
Okay, then I gotta go all the way around. So we're on 180 out. Because it should go psht, like when it reaches TDC, but of course I'm not spinning it real fast either, so. Well, let's see where my timing mark is. Oh, okay, I gotta come all the way back around. It should be, what you're feeling is it's kind of sucking, I think. Let's see. Because when it gets there, it should be a pretty robust push. And you don't have to like, you know, you can just kind of rest your thumb there. Here we go. Ooh. As soon as I get that battery hooked up, we can use the starter. Yeah. Okay. You should either be feeling it doing nothing or it should have, any second now go psht. So, one more time around. And here we go. Ooh. Boy, that one's, this engine is very tight. All right. You can hear those lifters cracking. We're still coming around. Huh. Getting my workout.
Does that mean we should put that LS in?
Right? Ow! That hurted. Okay. We are at the 6 o'clock position, so any second now, you should start feeling some kind of compression on your thumb.
There, it pushed out.
Did it? Okay, so come around to this side now, step over my feet, and you'll see a white mark. So right over here where my finger's pointing, you'll see the numbers and you'll see a white mark somewhere around in here.
Nothing there yet.
Yeah, there should be a mark. Okay, it's coming up.
Oh, I see it down there.
Yeah, when it hits 0 on my little indicator there, tell me to stop.
Okay.
That means we should be at TDC.
You're at the 12.6, like literally like a quarter inch. It's not too far.
Is that
Yep.
right on 0?
Yep.
Perfect. Whew. All right.
It is the thickness of the mark.
Just a teeny little.
Can you go back into the?
I mean, a little tiny bump isn't really gonna hurt it. Technically, I think there's some debate about that, but I've done it. Here we go. Just a little. Right there? Okay.
I'm out of here.
All right, we'll see you, Colton. Got this engine at TDC now. That was a workout. The moment we've all been waiting for. We do. Here I'm let's see. Yeah, so this is just a universal spread bore versus square bore. And I think this one is just.
It looks smaller than the actual input, you see it?
I do. I am noticing that. I think, well, actually, for that reason. Okay, see, he noticed that this one would actually cover my ports by, let's see.
A little bit.
Just on the sides here, but we'll hold on to it just in case we need it. I really just needed the stud kit more than anything.
All came together as a kit?
Yeah.
Who made that?
Edelbrock. And they're charging, you know, tariff prices for a piece of phenolic or whatever it is, pressed cardboard. Is that one stripped? Of course it is. All right, Henry, it is yours.
Really?
Put it on there. Finally gonna happen. Nope, it's got to come up just a little bit. There you go. She's on.
Looks good.
Yeah?
Yeah, I like it.
Well, the better part is how it's going to run. It'll be, I think, even a little bit more tame than the Mustang.
Really?
Yeah. All right, that was fun. Henry had to go back to work, but he got to put his faux carburetor on. Super happy about that. The next thing to do is the distributor. So I'm going to drop it down in there. That's where I wanted it. And pull out the alignment tool and the grease, assembly lube, and distributor gasket, and a nice wire retainer. Get rid of this. That must be what these screws are for this wire retainer. All right, so first I need to get this cap off. They sent me this. It's got 2 times the zinc formula. All right, so I've got this thing thoroughly coated in the cinnamon flavored zinc break-in oil. I'm just gonna start by stabbing her down there. And this rotor just sits on there. It's not, there's no there's no bolt or set screw or anything. And I'm gonna just see if I can get her to point to number 1. That is not number 1. Okay, so I'm gonna have to turn the shaft because we're pointing at like 7 right now. Take this and set it up here. Get my long screwdriver. See if I can get this close. Rotate that back to let's call that pointing to 1. And then they got this cap indicator, and you just stick this on. There's a little pin. Let's see, where's the mark? Well, they want 1 to point over here. Fine. Okay, now that that is lined up with their alignment tool, and this is pointing generally in the direction of 1, it's pretty close. I don't think it really matters at the end of the day. Wherever 1 starts, go from there, because the timing is all going to be set by the computer anyway. That kind of hurts. And keep in mind, fellas, this rotor is not going to point exactly to the mark you made on the distributor shaft. Holley is actually setting up the phasing of the sensor sort of in a, I don't want to call it a sweep position, but you know, this can advance, I think, upwards of 30 degrees. So it's not needing to be like your traditional right on the money. That's why they have this alignment tool. It gets this where it needs to be for the computer system, and then you'll just make your mark so you know where number 1 is on your cap when you start making your wires or connecting your wires. So, and in this case, I'm going to make my own wires. All right, after you get that all set in place, you're supposed to take a marker or a paint pen, and there's a spot right here. Pretty hard to get to with the distributor in there on this one, so I just lift it up slightly, mark it with my magic marker, and then set that down. And now number 1 is on there where they say 1 should be on the cap. this is locked down. So I'll go ahead and put the distributor lockdown on and get that secured. Okay, I wasn't real sure if this factory lockdown is going to work on this distributor. Hopefully it will. It should. Okay, that's locked down. And no further adjustments are required. And then this cap's only going to go on one way. There's a couple of dowels right here. They'll lock in right there, so you're not going to be able to mess that up. And number 1 falls exactly right there on this mark. So that's number 1 right here. And I will go ahead and just mark that with my paint pen. Where's it at? Here it is. So this is going to be number 1, just like that. Time check. I've been at this for about an hour and a half, just on this side, but I ran into a couple problems. I'll get you in here and I'll show you. I got solutions, no big deal. The first one was this boot for number 7 would hit the steering shaft. So I had to make myself a 90, no big deal. Then I had to deal with the kick down. Over here was a little too close to the cylinder head. So allegedly I might have, taken a pry bar and just, allegedly. Anyway, I've got plenty of room now. And then the time consuming part of this is, getting it laid out so that it's gonna look nice and function well when it's done. So I'm gonna build a bracket that'll come off of this bolt here, that'll hold these up nice here. And now I'm down to the point where I need to start cutting to size on my wires up here on the distributor. So I'm gonna keep rolling on that. All right, before I get started, I thought maybe I should at least talk about the tools I'm using. This comes with the wires from the MSD kit, and you need to use your vise, and they have instructions on how to use it. I don't like it, not very user-friendly for me. Plus, I don't want to have to take the wires back and forth to a vise, so I'm not using that. So I bought these on Amazon, and they do 8.5. They're specifically for 8.5 wires. So this is how I'm going to be able to do this right here on the car. That's the tool I'm using. Now I'm going to get to work. So here's an unbent terminal right out of the box, and in the instructions they say, yeah, you gotta, put a 90 on it. Well, I mean, just take the machine and then send it out. They want to add about, 5 minutes to every one of your spark plug wires. Okay, carrying on, no more talking. that is spark plug wires done. This took probably in real time, I don't know, it took me about 4 hours, I think, which is probably way too long, but that's okay. I really wanted to obsess over just a nice layout. You know, I wanted to make sure the routing was not only going to be, you know, functional, so nothing's rubbing, but it also has a nice appeal to it. I'll make a bracket that'll bolt right here and then bring these up and it'll stay just like that. And then I ended up off camera mounting the old coil mounting bracket to the firewall using a riv nut. And then I routed it up over the booster and it comes out nicely over here. I will be putting some type of aluminum. It definitely will not be the plastic corrugated. I hate that stuff. Okay, so what's next? Well, before I start doing the wiring and the battery and everything else that needs to be done for the electrical, the next step is to lay out where all of the modules and components are going to go, get them figured out, and then I can start on the wiring. First, you have to have your layout though, right? And there's gonna be a lot of that. New battery, I'm changing the top post, you can see that. Big cables and lots of little things in those boxes back there. So when I come back tomorrow, we'll start with all the different modules, finding a spot to put them, finding them a home where they're gonna live. This is the only thing I'm putting back here. Everything else is gonna have to find a different location, either under the hood or in the car. All right, we'll see you tomorrow. These are the modules that I need to get installed today. Really, I just need to find where they're gonna live. This is called a PDM. We'll talk more about that as we go. This is the Hyperspark controller. This is the wideband O2 sensor. This is a Bluetooth module. It'll let you just pair your phone or any Bluetooth device, tablet, whatever, and you can do your tuning that way. There's several books of instructions that come with each component, but if you have the PDM, you can use this one. See if I can get it open here because it's not opening. This one can be your master for at least your installation, and then you'll use the main book for your setup. But this is going to be the easiest one to follow because this guy is going to do most of the controlling. Okay, so coming from over here to the engine bay, we are, here's the main harness that's going to come off of the Holley EFI. See if I can get it. There you go. Just like that. It's really not that many connections. It's the thing that takes the longest is planning all of this. So keeping in mind that the distributor plugs directly in to this harness. For me, that was the starting point. Okay, so where am I going to go with everything? Here's where I settled. After many, many different locations and whatnot. All right, so the spark controller is going to go under the center console on the floor, and then the PDM is going to go right here where the center console cubby is. I'll probably have to make a custom cubby because this sits up a little high. This one didn't have a cubby for me to check it, but I'm looking at it and I'm sure it's going to sit high. You want to be able to see your diagnostic LEDs. I chose this location because there's plenty of room to run wire to and from up the center console. Then I've made, and I'll show you in a second, that hole was already existing in the firewall and there was nothing there, just a blank off. So let's go check that out. As I mentioned earlier, this is the main harness for the Holley EFI. I don't really want to see any of this under the hood, if possible. One of the problems though is this connector is quite large. This is from the main Sniper EFI. So what I ended up doing was just making, with my Dremel tool, surgical scalpel knot hatchet, and I just made a slight indentation here and here, and then I actually folded it over so I wouldn't have any sharp edges along here. But maintaining enough so that when I put the plug back in, you're not going to have these big huge cuts, right? So, and of course this plug will end up being hollowed out to make room for this. So the connector, one of the unfortunate issues I had was it has this big weather pack seal in the back. Now absolutely do not want to modify this if you're going to leave this under the hood. And in my modification, I didn't change any of the sealing back here anyway. But I took this big outer lip off. It went something like that. Nope. It went like that.
Nope.
There you go. So it mounted something like that, and it was all the way around. And I gently, carefully, literally took me about 30 minutes to carefully cut that off, but leaving all of this weather seal and everything in back completely intact. I just took this extra lip off. And then I use, you'll see this a lot in this video, this is Tessa tape. It's polyester woven. It holds up way better than electrical tape. The main reason manufacturers use this today is when you wrap wiring harnesses with it, they won't rattle so much behind the dash or under, consoles or whatever. So just let me reiterate, you do not want to modify this if you're going to leave it under the hood, period, end of story. Don't touch it. So after I cut that off and put this tape on, I can now easily slide the main harness into my keyhole there. So now the connector's in the car. Obviously, at this point, I'll make this connection. This is going to give me the serviceability and the access that I'll need in the future if relays need to be replaced or there's any repairs that need to be made. It'll all be fairly accessible. Center console comes out very easy. Probably don't need to look at this LED on here all the time unless you're having an issue, I suppose. Of course, as I mentioned earlier, you do want to be able to see those. But ultimately, all the wiring is going to be in the car. It's going to give me the result that I want. When you look in this car, once it's built, it's going to look like a factory 71 Pontiac GTO. Same thing under the hood for the most part. One other thing that they mentioned, all of these can be put under the hood. Clearly, they say to keep it away from the exhaust or anything that's too hot. This is Arizona, so, I mean, what's too hot? But they say don't put it in the glove box. I'm assuming it needs some airflow. So if in the event there's any issues with this running hot, I've already come up with a contingency plan to just tap the hose here for the vintage air, blowing cold air down into the center console, keeping things cool. I don't think it's going to be an issue. The car is not going to see any track days or anything like that. So I think everything here is going to work out just fine. So now that I have my layout in the car and I know where everything is going to go in there, there's a few things I have to address out here. I want to get rid of the side post battery. They're a pain, and most of you guys probably agree with that, but either way, this is getting taken out. I already have new 2-gauge battery cable. This fits a 2011 through 2017 Chevy Equinox. It's going to mount right up to the battery, right to the block, right to the core support. It's going to be perfect. All right, I'm going to tell you guys and my wife while she's standing here holding the camera a cool story about this fuse box. It's really important. Please don't swipe away. If you're a car guy, especially this guy, super cool. He has a channel on YouTube. It's at Bad Attitude C10. His name is Blake. And on eBay, he's TXDRAGRACER. I hunted high and low for a good quality fuse box. And I explained to him what I was doing. Not only did he send me the fuse box with a nice little cover on it, which is kind of cool. He sent me some cool stickers. Here's his channel stickers. Again, there will be a link in the description below. But he also sent extra fuses just in case I need a couple of different variety of sizes and wire numbers. Just a lot of cool stuff. Some harness holder or fuel line holder, whatever that you're going to use. Yeah, we just had a cool conversation through eBay, through the messaging, and that's when I learned that he had a channel. But here's the thing that's really important, where you all can help out. If you guys need something like this for your projects, hit up Blake, TXDRAGRACER on eBay. Go check out his channel, show him some support. As I go through this video, I'll be highlighting some of the cool things that I've got for this car, where I got them, and there will be links in the description. So what am I going to do with this? This is going to get mounted down here. You can see I labeled what they're going to do. Typically on a car like this or any restoration, you buy Painless Auto or American Auto Wire and you just redo the whole car, which is normally what I do. But in this case, most of the wiring is just being deleted because everything under here is being changed. So I'm going to make this car as safe as possible by adding some circuit protection, starting with this. This is going to get mounted down on the inside of this fender. The battery cable is going to come off of the battery and go to this terminal here, which is going to put B+ to this whole bus bar. This is going to go off to the starter. It's a 250 amp. If you have your factory starter, this will not work because they pull way too many amps. I'm using the JEG's gear reduction starter, maybe 175 amps. So this should be good to go. This will be the alternator circuit because I've upgraded the alternator. What I'm going to do is change the alternator circuit to a 4-gauge wire. So B+, 4-gauge, and then this is going to be the power to the PDM for the Holley, and this is going to be the vintage air. All right, guys, so I know I've had a lot to say. I really just want to be as detailed as possible in this one. Try not to bore you. Get your coffee, get your cold drink, whatever you're going to do. Just kick back, relax. I'm not in a hurry on this one. And with that, I think it's time to just start putting some parts on the car. What do you think? What do you think, wife? Yep, okay. All right, guys, thanks for listening. Let's get to it. All right, guys, let's see how this negative cable fits on this battery setup here. Should be perfect. I looked at, I don't know, probably half a dozen different, and everybody's got a 4-gauge. It's really hard to find a 2-gauge. The Tractor Supply store, they had a 2-gauge, but they weren't terminated. So, yeah, that's going to work out great. I'm going to end up drilling a hole, putting in a riv nut right there, grounding that to the core support, and then down here, I'll either use that location where it originally was, or I might just put it back here. To be determined on that, I guess. But this is going to work out. Whoa. So starting with my silver paint, all right, I'm just going to get this in here. I sort of already knew where I was going to put this and see if I can get my mark made. I don't know if this will fit through there. And there's the top. There we go. Now I got my mark in. All right, I mentioned the other day when I did the coil, I'd show you guys how to, if you haven't seen a riv nut in action before. All right, so you thread the riv nut on counterclockwise. You put it in the hole you just drilled, and then it's just like a regular rivet. It's just a lot harder to squeeze. They make nice hydraulic ones, but they're kind of hard to get in these areas. And then you just thread it out. And now it's installed. You got something nice to thread into. Same thing down here. All right, guys, so I actually ended up changing the orientation, and you can remove the old riv nuts. It's pretty simple. You just grind them off the back, so I'll end up doing that. But I wasn't paying attention to the way my positive cable was going to route, and I didn't want it to go down. I wanted it to go this way. So I'm going to use these 4mm stainless. Give it a little snug. All right, so this is what it'll look like with the cover on. All right, everyone, well, let's get some wires in this car. Get this thing hooked up and powered up. So we've installed the fuse box. I've already made my measurement where I'm going to cut this cable and then put a copper eyelet on there to make my attachment to the fuse box. So I'm going to go ahead and just cut this guy off. So I've got this wire cut. I've got my copper end on there. I just need to crimp this down and we can start putting it together, get it down on that starter. And that'll be one circuit down of many to go. With the cables cut and the copper connector on, bring it over to the vise. So after I have the end crimped on, I always like to add a little solder to mine. I'm just gonna find a place to mount it up here. Actually, I'm gonna put a bend on it like that. There we go. Don't touch it. You'll instantly regret that. All right, I got my positive cable made. Pretty simple process. Just measured it off from my battery to my fuse box we installed. Put some copper ends on, and now I'm just gonna finish installing it up. All right, I got this cable fitted up on this side. I'm gonna get this slid down in this tube. And I don't think I told you guys where I got this cable, but it wasn't from an auto parts store because I had a hard time finding a 2-gauge cable with the ends on it. You can find the cable, but they want, you have to put the ends on. Anyway, I got this from the Tractor Supply store. I'm sure many of you guys already knew that. However, I didn't. It was a nice surprise. All right, let's get a mark made where we want to put this core support ground. I think right about there. All right, let's get this hole knocked out. I got really bad tinnitus, but you all don't know that. And it's reactive, and so as I speak, it's very distracting. So is that. Okay. All right, so I've got a cable I made for over here. This is engine to chassis. I'm gonna clean up the, clean the paint off of the frame over here, get this mounted up, and there's one more ground to go. It's gonna be this one that goes back on the engine to body. So let's get that cleaned up real quick. All right, I'm just gonna take a minute to check my circuits, make sure they're all good. I've got my meter set up over here with a camera on it so I can show you what I find with this. But first I just wanna check the cable resistance itself. And that's 0.2 of an ohm, so that's perfect. That's just cable end to cable end. Same thing down here. So it's good low resistance for sure. And now I'm just gonna take this cable end over here and find something metal on the front of my core support. Here we go. And so that's through the core support, still 0.2, which is very good. And then I'm just gonna come over here to the engine block and just grab one of my intake manifold bolts. And so we gain a couple of tenths, let's see. Gain a 1/10 going from the cable all the way through the block over here. Let's see what the compressor is. 0.2, okay, so that's probably some of the intake gasket. Long and the short of it is, those are very good grounds, at least resistance-wise, and they should also carry a load, no problem. All right, just as before, I set my meter to the resistance or ohms reading, and I'm gonna check the circuit. From the negative cable over here to my chassis ground that I just made, and I'm 0.2 of an ohm, actually 1/10. So I've got a good ground path through the engine to the chassis. All right, I got my workbench set up over here. I wanted to show you something that's super important when you're dealing with cars with 50-year-old electrical. All right, guys, these two terminals came from the kickdown switch on the throttle pedal. And I was checking all of the electrical circuits from inside the car to out for high resistance, and just making sure I had good circuit continuity. And to do that, you set your meter on ohms. I was looking for basically less than 1 ohm of resistance from my pedal out to the orange-black wire at the transmission, and I had crazy resistance, like 14,000 ohms or something. So the first thing I did is disconnect my bulkhead connector over here and make sure there wasn't any corrosion. I already had that out and cleaned it, but I just double checked it. And then I checked the resistance from the bulkhead to the pedal wire, and I still had super high resistance. We'd be looking for, if it was good, we'd be looking for something like this, just under 1/2 ohm. So I knew the problem wasn't out under the hood. When I stripped the wire back just slightly above the terminal and then checked it again, I had this reading, which is normal. So all of the resistance is in this terminal, and this is what I'm getting at. Most people look at this and say, well, it looks fine. There's no corrosion, nothing wrong with it. Everything looks like it should. And so people will scratch their heads trying to figure out why a circuit isn't working. But if we ohm this out from terminal to wire, you can see we have 63.4 kilo ohms. Same thing on the pink wire. When you ohm it out from terminal to wire, you have 38.8 kilo ohms. Bottom line, layman's terms, these would never operate properly. You would never have enough voltage to the kickdown switch for the transmission to work, because you can't overcome that much resistance. It might not blow the fuse. In fact, I don't even think it's a fuse circuit, but it's not going to work. You would check this with your meter and you would say, oh, well, there's maybe 8 or 10 volts there, but then when you put a test light on it, you put a load on it, there's going to be nothing. Fix was simple: cut it off, new terminal, check it again from inside the car out to the transmission, and then I had exactly what you want to see, which is under 1/2 ohm resistance. Okay, we're done over here in Nerd Corner. Moving on. Okay, guys, well, next step here is going to be to kind of butcher up this harness here. Most of the stuff that's in here I'm not going to use. So I've already gone through and pre-marked these wires, put some blue tape on them, telling me kind of which, it's my map, sort of which way I'm going. Like this one's staying, this one's going, is this one staying? Yep, that one's staying. And what I did is I just like blower motor, put an X, right? It's going. I don't need a blower motor circuit anymore. Vintage Air has its own power. There's no need to have these. So that's the next step. I'm just going to finish cutting open this harness here to this junction. Cut these, like this wire that went down to the starter and then back over to the alternator. That's coming out. Don't need it. I'll show you why. So let's just get going on that. As I said earlier, I'd already cut most of this tape off. All right, let me get my pocket screwdriver in there. Make life a little easier. There we go. Okay. What are you? Oh yeah, you're also going away. Don't need you. Kind of wrestling to keep this where I want it. Let's do that. Yep, so this is my wiper motor. You're staying. And then this, all this can go away. So I don't need to untape that. You're going away. My goodness, it's like wrestling an alligator. Okay, and you're staying. So this is oil pressure. That's gonna get a new wire. And this is kick down with the orange stripe, yep. And then this one is a delete. Fun fact, they had this weird system in '71 called the TCS system. I didn't even know it existed in 1971 because I wasn't born yet. Anyway, it was to help reduce NOx at cruise. And they used the coolant temp sensor and some other vacuum diaphragms and widgets, well, to make it retard the timing. Going down the highway, reducing the NOx. So this circuit can also go away. I just need this for kickdown. So as I was going through this harness, I noticed a couple of minor differences. It's not a big deal, but I thought I'd just take a second to illustrate some of the differences in, for example, I got one of these color wiring diagrams from, I think it was JEGS, I'm not sure, I think it was JEGS. And they're great because you get this nice color overview of the car. However, it shows this orange-black wire for the TCS, and the temp sensor is two black wires, a black and an orange, and the green for the gauge. However, I also have the factory schematic here, and it rightly calls out the true colors of that circuit, which is going to be double yellow, the green for the gauge, and a blue. Not a big deal because I'm taking this connector off and just keeping the green wire. All right, moving on. Okay, I'm going to quickly check the kickdown circuit just to make sure this orange-black wire is as the schematic says it should be. I've got my meter just kind of hooked into the wire here. I'm going to go into the car, go to the kickdown switch. We should hear a beep, continuity. We know it's good, and then I can eliminate this other wire here. That's what I was looking for, so we're going to move on to the next step. All right, I got my handy dandy side cutters here, so we're leaving the green wire. And I'm actually just going to de-pin this one for now. Whoops, wrong side. There we go. That's coolant. This yellow wire I'm just going to leave in the harness. And this blue wire I'm also just going to leave in the harness. And what does this black wire do? Nothing. Okay, so with this surgically removed, I've eliminated the blower fuse circuit and then the TCS circuit, basically not needed for this. It can go away. Just got rid of the coil circuit. Those two I don't need. They'll get capped off. So now I just need my oil and my kickdown. This gets a new terminal. And we're just going to cut. This wire's kind of old and crunchy, so we're just going to cut this off. I don't know, let's see. Right around there. Because it feels good up here. I'll check it more thoroughly here in a minute. And this is my coolant temp. So this is going to go out and around over there. All right, starter wire. Going to put a new one of those on. Starter, oil. Right, I want to start with the alternator, which is right down there, and you all can see that this connector is completely gone, right? So got to get that out of there. So I'm just gonna, it's so rotten, you don't have to, it just falls apart. Just like that. So this guy goes away, and that one goes away. So I'm going to cut the sense wire off. where's my strippers? Here we go. So my first step is I need to strip this wire back so I can put a new connector on. So I've got the wire stripped back. I've inspected it. It doesn't have a bunch of corrosion or oxidation on it. So I don't think I need to replace it. I'm gonna use the Delphi crimping tool. This is a copy made by American Auto Wire. You can buy them for a couple $100. I make it a lot easier on myself by starting it in the tool first, so it's just easier to hold in there. And I highly recommend using these tools. I mean, you can cheat it. Everyone's done it, I've done it, but this is going to deliver a much more accurate crimp. I mean, look at that. It's a perfect crimp. Okay. And then it's a two-part crimp. You have to first start on the front, or the middle, whatever you want to call it. Start on the middle here, and then grab this second tool, a little bigger end. Now you have a nicely crimped new terminal. All right, so after we get the new terminal on, just to make sure I'm in my right pins here, I will slide my newly pinned terminal in until I hear it click. Same thing over here. Now I've got a new connector terminals to my alternator, and that is a pretty simple process. The last thing I'm going to start doing is taping up. I'm a long way from that, but to keep things organized, I will take a bit of tape. I think my razor blade is getting a little dull. I got a better idea. Hold on. Where are you at? There you go. I'm just going to cut some small segments of electrical tape just to sort of organize the wires as I work my way down. Yep, there it goes. Bye. We'll see you later. This is just falling everywhere. This is not a good place to put stuff. I keep finding that out. So, I don't know, let's just go about 6 inches back. This is the part that just takes so long, the laying it out. Okay, this guy's gonna plug in over here, just like that. And then you're gonna come back around this direction. Or you're gonna follow these guys. Which way are you gonna go? Probably down. These guys. Now let me get you guys in here real quick, show you what we're up to. So obviously we just built this new alternator harness. So the next thing I'm gonna do is replace this starter wire. The purple wire, it was really crispy, so it's gonna get a new purple wire all the way down to the starter. Here's what I'm doing. This is what's making this a little different. This red wire from the alternator, the one I just put on here, used to terminate, right in here somewhere. There was a big splice. Everybody joined that splice and then they went and did their little jobs. This one now is gonna go completely back around over to my fuse box, right down here. The reason I don't do what everybody else does, where you just jump it right off here to the stud on the back of the alternator, is when you do that, you're not sensing the load of the car, headlights, air conditioning, etc. With this wire back over here in my new fuse box, where the vintage air will live, Holley, and then the feed to the main cabin, whenever there's going to be loads, the voltage regulator will be able to more accurately keep up with the loads and charge the battery. Okay, next on the agenda after the purple wire and that explanation, this black red, which feeds, I I kind of labeled these for you. This black red feeds the main fuse box. This red feeds the headlight. And this red, nope, sorry. This red feeds the headlight switch. And this red feeds the always hot circuit of the fuse box in the car. Those are also now, because there's no more fusible links, going to terminate right here, my underhood fuse box. So everything's going to be fused and protected even more so than it was 50 years ago. And that's going to really simplify the wiring. So now I just need to get to it. Lastly, coolant wire, that's been pulled out. I'll put a new terminal on that. And then I've got my kickdown wire. That needs a new terminal. And then lastly, my blue oil pressure gauge, which was quite crispy, so I cut it all the way off. And I'm gonna run a new blue wire over there. And that finishes off the wiring under the hood for the most part, at least for the factory stuff. And then I need to get to the vintage air over there and the Holley EFI. So let's keep cracking on that. Okay, both cameras are just running. I'm not really going to talk through this part. Hopefully this will just be a sped up section. So where are you going? What are you doing? Come back around. Where are you going? Hey, I'm over here. Hello, over here. Hi, right here. Hey. All right, that's not helping at all. Let's not get fancy because you're just doing all kinds of weird stuff. All right, well, we're back. It's a new day. I got a lot done yesterday. I think I need to take a minute, just walk you guys around, talk about a couple of things, and then we can keep moving with today's action. Yesterday I got quite a bit of the wiring connected to my fuse box here. We've got the battery supply in to the bus, these two fuses, and then these four down here. This positive wire goes directly down to the starter on a 250 amp mega fuse. It should be sufficient if my calculations are correct. Then we have a 125 amp fuse for the new 105 amp alternator. And for the alternator, I used 4 gauge wire. It future proofs if there's any stereos or anything added. I mean, it's overkill for what we have now, but it guarantees we have what we need for any future add-ons or anything like that. This is the main engine harness that we were working through yesterday. Of course, yesterday I put a new connector and new terminals in the connector. This red wire is a new circuit. This is unchanged. This is up to the gauge. And this red circuit comes all the way around, turns to an orange wire, and it connects directly to the bus. I want the voltage regulator to be able to sense the loads and get an accurate reading of power demand. Next up, I took the 2 red wires that were in, this loop that was once here, this splice that they had, and spliced it, soldered it, terminates on this fuse bus here. So the black wire with the red tracer that feeds the whole car now has, I think this was a 10 gauge, and it has its own circuit right there. So this goes down to the starter, and then I put a new start circuit in. All right, and then the last thing I hooked up here was the oil pressure, new wire, because the other one was quite crispy. So new oil pressure wire, and new connector, new terminal. All right, with that complete, I need to get the car in the air, and I've got a couple of circuits down below to address, and I'm not gonna start taping all that up yet. Oh yeah, I left out coolant temp. Maybe I didn't? I don't remember. I just saw it. Rabbit trail. Well, anyway, coolant temp That's original wire with just a new terminal and a new sensor, because we're converting this car to an actual gauge, not a dummy light. So that's why that's there. But anyway, I'm not going to tape until everything is run, because I've done this so many times in the past where I think I'm done, nothing else to do here. Tape her up, and lo and behold, new circuit, got to run it, and you're left with taping it, you know, taking all the tape off or running it over. And that's why I just, you know, cut the little pieces of tape there, and then as I get my routing, tape it up, you know, every few inches or whatever, just to get it where I want it. And when it's all said and done, when I know it's finished, I will go ahead and tape it off. I do need to tape this up, so I'm going to do that real quick. We'll get it in the air, and then we'll finish off what we need to finish at the transmission and the starter. Well, now we can see what we got going on underneath here. I need to find the routing for this cable. I need to shorten my purple start wire quite a bit, so we'll go ahead and get that done. And same thing with my kick down new wire. Need to get that to the right length and get a connector on it. All right, let's get that win that I was talking about a minute ago. I've got the starter hooked up. I've got the kick down hooked up. Things are kind of routed for now. As I mentioned earlier, everything will come back up and out, taped up, back into place. But for now, this should be good to go. So let's see if it'll crank. Well, let's start by not dropping the keys. Here we go. All right. Well, that was super satisfying. Really glad to hear it crank over. I wasn't worried that it was going to, but it's just been a long time. All right, well, with that, I'm gonna call it for the evening. I'll get in early tomorrow and we'll get back at it. We'll see you then. All right, well, I give up. I'm not gonna find it.
What are these? Are we using this plastic here?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll just clean that up.
Oh, you got it put together.
And
then the glass
we don't
goes
need it,
over-
but this guy is up there. I put up by your plane so it wouldn't, you know, get tossed around.
Okay, so then
But the cluster, I give up. We'll have to just order a new one.
the glass just goes on top of this?
Yeah, we can put that on for now, and then we're all here today trying to figure out how we get this car done and running today. That's the plan. I do have till Wednesday apparently. What was the deal after that? Is that window closed, or
2 to 3 months before we can get in.
2 to 3 months before we can get in? So this is all hands on deck. Colton's out there cleaning the gas tank. Henry's working on the cluster. Now we don't need that in right now. We're not putting the dash back in, but when we start the car today, I want to be able to see oil pressure, temperature, etc. I'm gonna head over there and get to work because I've been walking around for like 30 minutes looking for parts that we mysteriously don't have that I thought I ordered. So we'll check back in with different projects. Let's get to work. So my idea here I'm scheming on is a little soapy water. Let's make it easier to slide in. Let's set this here.
Just a heads up, it was drifting around, so I already had to turn it off.
Okay,
It just loves to drift.
that's fine. We'll work with it later. Okay, mysterious camera person, this is my idea. I got this hose, no idea what make and model. This was just scouring the hose bin at O'Reilly, and I think it's gonna go on my valve and another one of these. Come on around here, camera person. Let's get these people in here so they can see what I'm doing. besides dropping things. That's all I'm getting. All right,
So the lens comes.
okay, I can take that. That's actually gonna work out nice.
Department.
That comes out here somewhere.
So temporarily we'll stick it through here.
Yeah, that's just where the washer
Does this
goes.
go to this block over here?
No. I'm gonna have to look at the schematic to wire that, but
All right, that'll hold that. I don't think it's going anywhere. Actually,
Okay.
that actually stays pretty good right there.
perfect. Yeah, as long as it's just not gonna fall off onto the floor. I'm gonna just cut this hose off here. Not taking my dad's advice, measure twice, cut once. Nope, just making a dot and saying that'll do. So, if I've eyeballed correctly, yeah, it's gonna sit down there like that. So now, same thing, cut my hose. So before I lock this down, I need to get the right orientation on it. And I'm going to try to orient these clamps so they're not rubbing on the firewall. All right, so I'm going to use this polyester woven tape. It's kind of fuzzy. We've kind of talked about it a few times. And I'm just going to put some right around this clamp here on this side. And this side. And right on the joint, like that, because it sits right here up against the firewall. Found this mysterious hose. Let's see, let me give you a part number. 19178 it looks like. So whatever that fits, comes off, gives me a nice curved bend around down here. Then I used a 90-degree elbow, which you just saw me tape up with some insulated. That way it's not gonna, rub on my firewall. Up and over, and then another mysterious hose from another car. Bend. I hate to use the couplers, but I really didn't have a choice. Like I said, I couldn't find an exact hose. Okay.
Looking real angelic in that lighting there.
Are you making fun of me?
Kenley magic.
Maya needs my help.
Yeah.
Hey, everyone, by the way, this is Maya.
Nice to meet you.
All right, stuck?
Yeah.
When you have a stuck part on a car, sometimes you just gotta make noises like, here, here, ha. And then for some reason, there's some magic behind this, Girls usually go, yeah,
Oh, come on.
Who needs Pilates when you have rusted bolts? And we're freeing this guy?
Not yet.
You got some down there? Okay.
Actually, I can do the rest of them.
All right. Do you want?
Appreciate it.
Thank
I can't
you.
believe that actually worked.
Yeah, and I also have your dad has a really big impact over there. It's the same color as this. I mean, it weighs about 82 pounds, but it'll break stuck bolts like that.
Okay.
All right, let's go finish some wiring.
All right. Take 2 of asking mysterious automotive technician guy what he's doing.
Okay, do I look like my dad now? Yes.
That's my
yes.
burp of agreement.
Yes, you look like your dad. Okay, so I'm just gonna quickly. What am I gonna quickly do? How about quickly finish the sentence is what I'm gonna quickly do. I'm just gonna quickly put some tape on this part of the harness here just to keep it a little bit organized. Where am I gonna go? This is just a temporary measure for now. I know what I was looking for before I got distracted. But then I distracted myself. I gotta go get the heat gun. Heating up the heat gun because we're gonna shrink this hose clamp right here. You're gonna see something super cool, ready? So instead of your traditional worm clamp, this guy right here, it's called a shrinkable hose clamp. You're gonna see something amazing, mysterious camera person. Check this out. The hard part is applying the heat evenly because obviously the intake is kind of in the way. Then I heat it till it gets kind of shiny like it is right now, which is telling me it's getting way, way too hot. You'll see that shine go away. And then I'm gonna sneak in right underneath here, like kind of sneaking in from the back side here. I mean, technically, you could just take the clamp, take the hose off with the housing, melt it and put it back on. But you know, I don't want to do that because I already jumped 4 steps ahead and put my gasket in and everything else. So we're just going to do this. Okay, and that's done. That looks pretty good.
Yeah.
Hey everyone, this is Colton. This is Henry's son. Wanted to introduce you to everyone, and
Yeah, appreciate it.
it doesn't have to be absolutely perfect. I mean,
Yeah.
most of that looks pretty good from there. So cool.
Don't worry, I'm gonna make it look pretty. Just give me a bit, I got it.
All right, awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
I am wiring up the vintage air. This is the harness that goes over to the battery and to my new fuse box. The ground wires are going to get connected directly to, come around here. This stud on my battery cable has this full stud on it. Perfect to put the ground directly to the battery. And same thing with this small white wire here. And the 2 power wires, they will go over to my fuse box. So that's currently what I'm working on. Got this all taped up with the non-sticky vinyl tape over here. And that run pretty much where the factory headlight harness is going to go. Up, down, underneath. Grounds run up to the battery, and then the power run down to my circuit down here for vintage air, and that is all of the vintage air wiring completed under the hood here, and all the hoses. Everything under here is now almost officially done. Once I run some wiring from in here that's gonna come over here, then we can start taping, but let's go see what Henry's doing. Fuel pump time.
And it goes to this one, figure 5, did that.
Oh yeah, I don't see the float in the picture. Let me see something here real quick. Remove the 2 screws holding the fuel level sender onto the assembly.
Yeah, it's called the sender, not a float.
Insert the hydromat and the pump assembly into the tank, leaving the fuel sender exposed. Be sure to insert the long end of the hydromat in the tank first. Blah, 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 blah. Oh, I see what they're gonna have you do. Yeah, see right here. It says take those 2 screws out. These 2 guys right here.
Okay. All the way off,
Yeah.
and then put it back together.
Yeah.
I'll do this without dropping any washers.
All right, everyone, so what he's having to do, if it's not obvious, is unscrew the sender, take it off of the unit so that you can fit the float in, and then reassemble it with it partially in the tank.
I can feel that big tampon down there getting stuck. I don't know if that's right. I feel like I'm gonna bend something.
It's one of those things where you have to hold your tongue just right.
Yeah?
Yeah.
It's hard to know if you got it all cattywampus inside, if it's gonna,
Well, here, let me camera. Hold on 1 second.
you gotta.
I'll be
gotta-
back.
can you-
All right, we're just we're gonna clean up this mess, and then I'm gonna transition to the inside. they ran off to get some lunch real quick. Everything's a little quiet, a little less chaos. Sorry if I'm not catching a lot on film, but just a lot of things are happening. The tank's already done. We'll catch that up here in a minute. I'm gonna clean up this mess. Like I said, transition to the inside. Start getting the wires run out here. And then we just need to get the exhaust mounted up, a hole drilled, pulled back down so we can put the O2 sensor in, then put the exhaust back up. And yeah, in these jobs, there's a lot of do it, take it out, do it again, take it out, do it again, and then you're finally done. And that's kind of where we're at. So without further ado, I'm just gonna get going. This has been kind of a chaotic morning with all of us running around doing stuff. It's almost 3 o'clock, which is unbelievable. Still have a ton of wiring to do. Right now I'm just getting the power distribution module layout. Henry had to run off and get me some 10 gauge wire because I didn't have any. I thought I did. Okay, so let me just get you in here real quick and show you what I've been doing. Then I'm gonna get back to getting this stuff wired, and then we'll pause again in a minute. Okay, here we go. All right, so here we are. This is the Hyperspark module. I'm gonna need to build a bracket that follows the hump of the transmission. And so I can put this on flat. So for now, just bolted it down in the corner so it won't roll around. PDM, also same thing. So temporarily just screwed it down in the corner there. And at this point, all of these wires that are hanging are gonna come down to here. I've gotta run these 10 gauge wires out to the battery, back to here, and yeah, after that, get the fuel pump wire up, get the fuel tank back in, and get the fuel lines hooked up, and maybe we'll hear this thing go today. It's looking a little less likely, but we're gonna try. All right, gonna keep going. Henry's here. It's a Monday. We're still working hard to get this thing done. We're about to put this fuel tank in, get things wired up, so we'll get some of these things wrapped up, and then on some key points, I'll bring you in. We're gonna go up here. Okay. Now, just hold that for one moment.
Oh, hang on, I gotta get underneath it. I'm right in the center.
Okay. Don't go anywhere. Ow, that hurt. What's holding us up? There we go. And then this is what I did the other day when I was here alone.
Don't scratch my paint.
Well, if you wanted to, you could put a block of wood under this.
Teasing.
Okay. So, do you have enough flex to get the strap around? Or do I need to hold this up real quick?
Hold it up for a sec while I get them forward.
Okay. Perfect, all right.
Do they put felt on these normally?
No. Sometimes they had like a tar paper. Oh, it's gonna reach. We're gonna make it. I thought somehow the bolts got shorter overnight.
good. Isn't that funny? Like the original tank, when they put the strap on it,
Yeah.
it's just either somebody pounded that, or the strap itself was hit so tight that it bent the.
Look at this, like this welding wire right here. See?
Yeah.
It just, I mean, that's how the cars were built. It's just going as quickly as you could, and there's just an old piece of welding wire stuck there.
Huh.
None of the attention to detail they get today.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. The tank turned out pretty good. It's all right. I mean, we didn't have to buy a new one. The new ones are super thin walled, you know, cheap Chinese knockoffs.
Well, this one's in pretty good shape. So
Yeah.
otherwise, I mean, we got other tanks, but
A little sediment in the bottom, maybe. It's not gonna hurt anything. So now I just need to wire this, plumb that,
all right.
and I'll call you in next when we do the exhaust.
All right.
So now that I got the tank installed, I need to go on and connect the wiring for the fuel pump and the fuel level sender. I've already got my wires run from the PDM down to the fuel pump. So I just need to secure the wiring harness and then connect all of the little evap lines and the fuel line going forward. And then I'm gonna get going on the exhaust because I need to drill a hole for the oxygen sensor. So we'll come back to that in just a moment. All right, guys, let me get you in here real quick. So I replaced this wire. If you remember when I pulled the tank, it was, I don't know, they had cut it and spliced it. It was not good. So new tan wire went in. The tank got cleaned up. The floor, trunk floor got cleaned up and coated. The frame got cleaned up and coated. We just got there was a little bit of surface rust here. Got that taken care of. So this is the power wires from the PDM to the fuel pump. And then the main connector that comes with it. You can see we replaced all the rubber. And I used the factory ground location right over here for the fuel level sensor ground. I just cleaned the body real well, so I have a good ground for that. And then all new hoses, replaced the hoses for the tank. Make sure you use these weather seal connectors. They come in a couple different colors, yellow, blue, and pink, or salmon. When you make your connection, make sure you shrink those down. It'll keep the water and the corrosion out. And that is very important if you're gonna have any kind of a connection. And I needed to, this cable that came with the fuel pump was so long, I had to cut it down. Here we put a fuel filter in line. This fuel line had already been cut. I don't know why, but somebody cut it out. Maybe it had some rust, who knows. Either way, it was already cut, so it made an ideal location just to put the fuel filter. So using a flare tool, I made a flare in the hard line here and a flare up here. That way my lines will be sealed and secure. That's the fuel filter done. Then coming up here, all right, and then up here, we just went from rubber to this AN fitting. We used a push lock style on this side. It's just bigger barbs. And then I still added one of my ear clamps anyway. And then it is AN hose and 6 hose up to the top. We've got the tank installed. We've got new rubber lines installed. Got the electrical done. And I'll bring you in a second so I can show you guys all this. But right now we're about to drop in the O2 sensor, pretty clearly illustrated in the instructions. All right, so this is the bung that they give you. And what you do is you just drill a hole in the pipe and then you use a stepper bit to make it larger. But the most important thing is that you don't put it in like that. It's got to be at a 10, 20 degree angle off to the side. And I think typically also on bank 1. So we're going to hang this exhaust. We're going to figure out where it's going to go, make a mark, bring it back down, drill it out, and then we'll show you once it's installed. So I was thinking like at least a good 8 inches back from the flange. Turbulence. Want the air to be smooth. So probably right about where this band is at.
Okay.
So do you have the bung? All right, so we hung up the pipe in place and we took the sensor, put it in the location we think we want it, and make sure that we had clearance, you know, from the transmission case and the speedo cable. Don't want to drill your hole and get all set up to find out it's not going to fit, right? We're going to go ahead and drill that out and get the flange in. stepper bit. It's the best thing for this job for sure. Your side.
I feel like it should be turned like that.
Yeah, whichever you prefer.
They got, even though I don't like looking at the bolts like that, it kind of fits into the grooves of the slots that they've made for it, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Get in there. There we go. That one's wrestled in.
Yeah, I grabbed my clamp when it did it. Okay, both of them.
Yep. And last but not least, we have the O2 sensor installed. We drilled the hole, fit the sensor, and put the clamps. When it comes back from paint, we're probably gonna weld this, and just all these clamps are gonna go away. But this will do for what we need right now. Okay. And I think that covers everything. All right, time to go upstairs. All right, guys, so we're just making a couple of final connections, and I will get you in here so you can see the rat's nest that is, but it's not gonna stay that way. But it's almost 5 o'clock in the afternoon, and both of us just wanna hear this thing do something before we leave for the day, right?
I'm in.
I mean, the best case scenario here, we program in all the stuff and it barks right off and we're like, this is amazing. The worst case, I'm resetting distributor for some reason, or who knows. But I'm gonna go best case
What
on.
are you installing now?
This is our Bluetooth module. So it says required for setup, but they're both CAN buses, but can I use this CAN? Or do I have to use that CAN? All right, well, we'll go with the one that says required, but it probably doesn't matter, honestly. All right, so now we're gonna go download the app. Holley, I don't know, I'm gonna say it's Sniper 2, let's see. Bluetooth for Sniper, there we go. So I put in Holley Sniper. Do not operate this mobile app while driving your motorized vehicle. Only one of us will do this at a time because it's gonna be Bluetooth. So it's only gonna accept one connection. But I'll just get your device on after I get mine. So now we need the setup instructions. I do not know all of this stuff by heart. I mean, I've done, what, 2 or 3 of those now? And each time I still have to remember. All right, Henry, we're gonna connect this battery cable, no sparks. I'm always confident.
Hopefully the battery's not dead.
Brand new. You see the cost of batteries these days?
Yeah.
This one is not even their best, it's like their 2-year, and it was still like $275, $250, $260, somewhere in there. Guys, it's just a
Nothing
battery.
compared to the anti-gravity.
No.
Reminds me, I gotta get that charger on the GTO.
Oh, the only thing I didn't get done today was the tack. All right, well, maybe tomorrow. I really wanted to have the tack done. That's probably another hour of wiring. So, oh, the gauges work. I'm kind of excited.
Close.
I think we are. I mean,
Gotta keep the air cleaner in. So I gotta order a throttle cable?
I already did.
Is this coil gonna be in a tough spot?
Oh, yeah, it's not gonna run. I gotta hook up the coil. That's right. It's just that'll take a second. Dang it. Thank you for reminding me. Okay, so this thing's hitting my head. The sand still raining down. Never do that again. Okay, so the battery's hooked up, and I thought let's see if we got power to everything first. Let's start there. Yep, my gauges move. I got a light on my Hyperspark. It's amber. This is the first one of these I put in, so I have no idea what it's supposed to be. I'm assuming that's okay. And I've got a green light on my PDM, so that seems to be powered up. And then my little Bluetooth module down here is flashing. Okay, I pressed this button on the Bluetooth module. It's now blue, and I'm already in the app. It picked it up, and now it's telling me I need to do an update. So we're gonna go ahead and do that. Bluetooth firmware must be updated first. Okay, so it's prompting me to do an update for the Bluetooth firmware. So the Bluetooth module's been updated. Now we're gonna go to the setup wizard. It detected the Sniper. We have an 8-cylinder, that is correct. We have a 455, but it's actually been bored out. So should I go to the 462?
Is that what it was bored to?
Yeah, we'll go 462. It's important that it is accurate as possible to optimize fuel. That's fine. It's, this one's gonna be a stock mild. The cam in there isn't, it's definitely not race. Oh, okay, so we'll go with stock mild. We have, from what I determined when I was in there, we have a mild cam or a street performance cam, so that'll work. Target RPM, 750, sure. Yes, we're using the Hyperspark distributor. Okay, question I don't know how to answer right here. So we're on question number 6. Okay, from the home screen, select the wizard, follow the prompts. On step 7, you will be prompted to select your ignition type. Highlight the Hyperspark distributor. Figure 6 and press next. Okay. Oh yeah, so we're not non-timing, so we are not magnetic. Yep, okay. And then follow the wizard.
Supercharger. Let's get one of those. I didn't know that was an option.
Yeah, no, we're all motor. Okay, so now it's gonna ask me for timing. If you've already had the engine running with the Sniper, you're upgrading instead of rerunning the wizard, you can, no, that's not us. Wide open throttle ignition timing. Well, a safe timing, I think we'll just go with like, I was gonna go with 30. So to be safe, we'll just start at 28 degrees of timing under wide open throttle. Create bass tune. Your bass tune is ready. Upload. Oh, I just heard it do some stuff. Okay, so we see coolant temp is 91, just because there's no coolant in there. Oh yeah, so I should be getting a fuel pump light, but I'm not. I've only got powertrain, cooling fans, fine. Fuel pump. Why isn't that? I mean, yeah, so the light doesn't turn on. Whoops. Okay, everything else is reading. I got 12 volts battery. Ignition timing is at 15 degrees. That should be pretty safe for a startup timing. I am certain that the big blue wire from the unit itself should go, there we go. Yes, negative trigger. It even tells you it's a negative trigger. So why aren't you working? Okay, well let's see then if that is a negative trigger. Let's do a quick diagnostic. So we know when we key it on, we get the ground, and that should collapse the relay, and we've got power on all the wires that we should have. It should be working.
Or they're
No,
not?
because when I ground it, it turns on. So this wire is good and it's a good connection here. And I've determined that it's not a problem in the connector because I'm getting the signal here to the relay. I mean, everything currently would point to
Programming?
a bad relay. No, because it's turning on. So what I'm doing is I'm going to power, right? So now I'm, you know, instead of going to ground like a test light and you're testing the power,
Yeah.
I'm going to go to power and I'm going to look for my ground because we know this is a ground supplied circuit. And when I back probe that blue wire coming from the unit, it's on, okay? And it's going to go off in a few more seconds. So we know the unit is sending the signal to the relay. And then if we come over here and we go to ground, and we're using a test light, not a meter, because meters will tell you got 12 volts, but if this light wasn't bright, you know, nice and bright, what's happening here is I'm supplying the ground. And you see the light on the PDM light up. Okay, so we got power. It's key on. Everything would tell me that it's a bad relay. Okay, they sent us the non-PDM, and this could have been, again, my fault in ordering it, or whatever, but this, oh, let's see.
What does that mean?
So this relay would be meant to drive a fuel pump apart from the PDM.
So you just take it off.
Let's verify that. She taped those together. Good girl. So if that is indeed the case, if I put this here and I do this, this is going to be a 12 volt. And it is. That's why. Okay. See?
Maybe you don't need the blue wire.
So what we're going to do then, since we got the, you don't even need to tape that off because I'm going to disable this relay here. Once I find my flathead screwdriver that I'm sitting on. There it is.
Just leave it. It's cut off. What's the difference?
Because we're going to need this circuit to fix it. So we're going to disable this because we don't need it. Come on. Lesson learned, if you're going to use the PDM, power distribution module, then there's another kit to order that will be devoid of this relay.
But we can work with this one?
Yeah, because all I need is the input, right? All I need is the negative input. There we go. So now I'm just trying to figure out, ow, it hurts the hand. This is one hell of a relay. I think what we do for now, Henry, I'm just gonna cut that and we're never gonna use it. So we'll cut that right there. And then I need my yellow strippers again, wherever they are. So we're gonna take this signal, and then I need a length of wire. I got some right here, we're good. Hey, let's stick with the blue. It's a little overkill, but that's fine. And then I'll need my red strippers, or not my red strippers, sorry, my red crimper. Thank you. I should have been recording all this, but this will definitely be one of those things. Hey, Holley, listen, when somebody comes to your website and they order, say, do you intend to use a PDM with this installation, yes or no? Oh, then this unit.
What does PDM stand for?
Power distribution module.
Okay.
So because this has a smart brain or whatever, it knew that it was getting a 12 volt signal where it should only be getting a ground, so it just disabled it. And here we go. We're gonna have fuel pump. Ready?
All right. Makes sense.
We need to put some fuel in the fuel tank. All right, guys and gals, fellas and fellettes, we're putting some gas in. I just spent 40 minutes diagnosing a problem, and I figure while I was putting gas in, I'll run you through it real quick. So when I was turning the key on, I was getting no fuel pump. And the reason I wasn't getting a fuel pump is that we've got the Sniper for a non-power distribution module, and so it comes with a fuel pump relay. We should have ordered the one that was for PDM. It wouldn't have this relay. So simple fix. After diagnosing it, I ended up just taking the trigger wire that comes out of the unit, connecting another blue wire here, running it over to the PDM, and now when I turn the key on, I get fuel pump. Okay, so now we're gonna look for some leaks because I just keyed it on. So now that we've solved our technical difficulty and we bypassed this relay here and we're connected to the PDM, we're gonna go ahead and see if we got some fuel leaks. So I'm gonna hit this first, Henry. Just make sure we don't hear any fuel pouring out anywhere. On the ground.
I don't see anything.
Okay. And I didn't hear anything coming out behind us.
Yeah, I put that fuel on.
Right. And we got gauges. This is just so we can see if we got oil pressure and whatnot. So, all right, Lord Jesus, give us good positive sounds. Here we go.
Battery's getting weak.
No.
Choke it?
No choke. Whoa! Yes! You're kidding me. Yes! Yes. Good oil pressure.
It smells like old gas.
It does. Look at that. Man, Henry,
Bob, you gotta run it.
can't see. Wow.
All right, good deal.
We had good oil pressure. Hey, I want to see if,
Smoking a little.
yeah, I want to see if there's oil pressure up to the top of the engine.
Is that because of the new gas?
That's from the headers. The header wrap is going to smoke like crazy.
Really?
Yeah. It's just, you know, pull the engine out and fix it. It's not a big deal.
Seriously? I hope not.
Cool. And the gauge still reads full, so I guess there's that disappointment.
All right, well, we got enough done.
All right, guys. Well, we are back for what is going to be the final day on this before it heads off to paint. Yesterday, pretty exciting. We finally heard it run for the first time in, I don't know, 3 months. It's been quite a while. Probably closer to 4 months. That's crazy. I'm going to get you in, show you where I'm at with the electrical under the hood in the car. I told you guys I'd show you what my 15-year-old daughter, who's never wired anything, she did a really great job. Very proud of her. Let's go ahead and get our eyes in here and see what we're looking at. So we've got the fuse box cover fitted, and so I got the fuse box cover fitted, and then I got some wire conduit placed over this. I taped up everything, just little stripes. You see, I didn't like tape the whole thing. I just did little sections, put it together, and not quite sure if I'm going to live with this like this, but this will be good for going off to paint. So this is a sample of the conduit I got. I think I got it from Amazon. When you cut it, you do melt it, otherwise it will unravel, as you can see there. I got my firewall plug put in, I rounded it out, and then same thing, I used this conduit to run my wires through so they'll slip in and out easily. When it's all said and done, this will get taped off completely, and then on the inside, some Dynamat will go behind it to seal it. So this will get taped up, that'll get conduit. This has already been taped up with that non-sticky static vinyl tape. This is my first time working with this stuff, and I have to say it works really well, really well. I tried to do 50% overlaps. Didn't turn out perfect, but good enough. I think it looks all right. I did fix my key buzzer wire, which was missing, just tapped in down there. I think it had been chewed off. I thought it was maybe cut off, but the closer inspection probably chewed off by some type of rodent. Just a quick recap. So this is all of my hoses run. They'll be covered by the fender. I did tape this up, and then the front section also got that vinyl tape. All right, and let's get to the inside here. So this is what it looks like with the center console in place, not bolted down or anything. So let's just take this off and show you how it's going to work. This will be a lot easier than the first video where I made a mess of trying to get it out. All right, so there's the power distribution module. This is the Hyperspark controller, and then everything run through the firewall down the console here. So the plan is when the vehicle comes back from paint and we're doing interior and carpet stuff, I'm going to make some brackets that'll probably bolt here and let's say here, and this will mount securely to that. I'll need to also make a bracket for this, I think. I might be able to roll with what I'm doing here. I'm going to need to make a bracket for the Hyperspark unit because the floor is curved. It's flat. It doesn't want to lay flat. So once I'm done making the bracket, this will get buttoned up nice and tidy. Everything will be very clean. Not sure if that's going to end up, this part of the harness is going to end up under the carpet or on top. I'm going to guess probably on top. We'll see. When it comes back from paint, we start working on the interior. I'll make some type of bracket to attach just to the floor here so that it's not moving around. So apparently you can get one of two configurations for the Holley Sniper. It's with or without PDM. I ordered without PDM, so it comes with a relay to run the fuel pump. And my daughter, she wired it correctly. She put the blue wire here, but that's a positive output, and this is looking for a negative trigger. So the internal supply shut it down and said, no good, not gonna happen. After 20 minutes of doing some diag, I figured out the mistake. I cut the wire that comes from the unit itself, which is a negative trigger, lengthened it and ran it over here, and the problem was solved. But in the future, if you guys are looking to order, this is a key difference. This is basically going to do nothing now, so it doesn't really matter. Okay, so with all that dialed in, I think you guys are caught up, and hopefully I don't make this too long, but I really wanted to take the time to explain all of this to anyone who's watched to this point, because you're probably interested in doing this for yourself. All right, guys, we're gonna get this cooling system bled. Henry has never seen one of these in action, so I'm gonna go ahead and demonstrate the awesomeness of the vacuum bleed. Did you know that these cars did not come with a overflow tank? I was looking for an overflow tank for this car, and in 71 and 72, they were not standard equipment yet. By 73, they were. So they just used to just let it spill out, and then, yeah, it got more environmentally sensitive. So we'll get like a, I don't know, maybe one of those billet ones you like to get. Someplace, it'll fit real nice over here. Now that the compressor is off. There we go, much better.
What was that?
Must have been air. So it's gonna pull it into a vacuum. Right now we're getting into close to 20 inches of vacuum.
What's it need to be?
There's no set. Really what you want to make sure is it just doesn't leak down, which I already did that. I put a partial vacuum on it, and then I unhooked it while it was doing its thing, and if it had a leak, it would just go like that. So it seems to be right around 18 inches of vacuum, it looks like. All right, so we're gonna take the sucker side, throw it in a container, and then you open your valve.
How far can you go before you start sucking air though?
I have to watch this and make sure that it doesn't run low. Otherwise, yeah, you'll suck air. Any smaller air pockets will find their way out, but you get the airlock in the block and you just overheat, and you're like, I got coolant in there. Well, it's because it can't get to there. It'll probably need a little top up, but that's good right there. No, you can. It's fine.
No, I'm okay.
You don't feel like it? All right, here we go. Yeah. Well, plus I primed it twice. Okay, starting it up again. All right, so we're just gonna let this warm up for a little bit. And as you can also hear, I've got one heck of an exhaust leak back there. So that will be a problem for another day. Well, we'll have to see what happens when it gets up to temperature.
Even when it was not in temperature, it was almost like a negative thing. It's like
Oh yeah, I temporarily put another ground. So, because it actually gets its ground through the whole dash assembly. So I just took a wire.
no RPMs yet.
I'm gonna need to get a resistor. It's always something. We're at about 15 degrees of timing right now, and it's 191. And it's within 1 degree, so I'm not going to mess with that.
Still a little leak over there.
It is. I really think what we're going to have to do is get it up over a little bit so that when the bolt tightens down, the header can go like that. Because I think it's not sitting quite flush. That's probably why they beat the hell out of it. Maybe we take some of the wrap off in that spot. I don't know. Okay, and then
Where's it hit? It's not like a sound.
no, but you don't. We don't want to have exhaust fumes. Cheryl won't appreciate driving on the road with the watery eye. Normally, if this were not anywhere between 2 and 10 for the IAX position, you just adjust this base. So watch, see how it goes away?
Yeah.
So I want to bring that back to where we're just sitting around
4, 5.
anywhere between 2 and 10, so right there. And now we should be and that throttle response is right now. GPS, or not GPS, Bluetooth.
You don't need to plug it in there.
Oh, you can buy one of those. They're like $100 for the little display. All right, so hang out for a second. Okay, everyone, well, that sound is the sound of the starter. As the engine heats up, it gets just a little too close, and so we're gonna have to make an adjustment there. A couple other things to adjust as well, but we're done. This is it, right? It just hopefully gets out of here. Time for paint, and on that, we'll see you guys on the next one. Take care.